Hi there, Felipe here, once again, the crazy creative designer from Germany. Originally from Brazil, but living in Germany for a long, long time. You can already see my blue eyes, or becoming blue eyes. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, hit the subscribe, hit the like button if you also find some value from this video. I'm a creative designer and I talk about business and design and development pretty much all the time, and I try to offer new perspectives and fresh perspectives. So check it out, check my channel out. Maybe you can find something that you like as well. So today I just wanted to rant a little bit and wanted to talk to you about three. Actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about business ethics, which I hope it doesn't sound as dry as you think it is, because it is. Because it is. I just wanted to talk about three subpoints, and I wanted to explain them and tell you a little bit more about what I pay attention to, what I try um to valorize, what I try to value. My God, I try to value, and those are three values that I can only share with you, and I totally recommend you follow them as well, because I think that's part of being a good professional. So first, let's get started with ethics. Ethics, I don't know the exact dictionary definition of it, but I'm not gonna look it up. I'm just gonna uh, speculate. So ethics are pretty much a framework, I believe, or of how to behave in order to be a good person, I guess. Something along those lines, and where those frameworks come from, whether they come from philosophy or evolution or whatever else, that's not the topic of today's discussion, but just see it or regard it as a framework to be a better person, to be a good person, and to be including all your facets as a professional, as a father, as a son, as a brother. So it's basically a code, right? To for doing the right thing, whatever that may be. Okay, so let's not discuss that. And in business, I have a couple of rules that I have developed for myself. You know, like Batman has the one rule that he doesn't kill. I have three rules at least that I like to insert into my work, but also try to live them out as a person. And it's very difficult to separate them in terms of business and personal. They go together here and there, you know. So, yeah, let's. Okay, so three no goals that I have in terms of ethics. Let's see if you can relate or empathize. So, number one, let's get it out of the way. Using generative AI. That is a no go. As a creative designer, I work with visuals every day, from 3Ds to illustrations to logo design to photography, video, drafts, and annotations and typography. I work with all types of visuals on a daily basis, and I just can't get into generative AI. You know, um, a colleague here, I don't know him personally, but I follow him. It's been a very strong inspiration for me in terms of AI kind of things for design. You know, that's Max Hofer. Uh, I'll mark him. Maybe he's interested in watching this. Maybe not. Might be doing more interesting things. Um, but generative AI generally, right, as we know from documents and from what we've come to find out, is that it's been trained on the data of uh, thousands of right. So I was talking, I got a little distracted here. So um, generative AI, so the models have been trained piggybacking on stuff from you, from other designers, from big companies that were basically scraped and stolen in terms of using their copyrighted material in order to train models. And that that was the origin of some of the AI. I understand today there are tools promoting the fact that they're not using your data. So I wonder what data are they using? Voluntary data, probably, or accumulated data. I don't know. Or training models based on existing output. So machines training machines. Who knows? But in any case, I think it's just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It feels different to when you're just looking for inspiration. You like somebody and you're like, hey, I want to reproduce this style. I want to use it as a reference, as an inspiration source. But if it's copied for a model, for a language model, we're not going to be able to determine in how far it's actually a copy or it's just an inspiration. Basically, from what I understand, maybe somebody can correct me on this. From what I understand, large language models, they're basically data compilers, right? So they scrape and collect and have a very deep understanding of the web. From what I heard also, for example, for programming tests, GitHub was completely used as the main reference or script, right, to train LLMs to write code or to improve code or to modify code, right? So to me, it just doesn't feel right, to know this fact and to use it. And as much as people try to defend this standpoint, and it's okay if you have a different standpoint, or if you're using newer models that are not basically stealing from artists or from designers, good on you, that's fantastic. But still, there's something missing. There is a soul missing. It's difficult to explain, and even though maybe sometimes the visuals look ultra realistic and like at first glance you're not sure whether that's a real person or not, something is missing in there. Something is, I can't really put it into words, but there's so many stock photos that you can buy out there, and there's so many illustrations and creativity and stuff that you can create yourself in videos and nature as a reference, that it just feels silly to try and use Gen AI for your business. I mean, put it this way, you could take a significantly better, more relevant stock photo and edit it, turn it into something creative, to which you have the rights and the licenses, and which is going to feel a little more authentic, knowing that it comes from, that it is the output of somebody who actually put work into it. And also, everywhere I see, it just looks so purely vague. Everywhere I look, no soul, I think. Whatever that is, but it's a topic for another time. So that would be number one, just getting it out of the way. Okay, so number two goes hand in hand with it, and that is to copy other people's work one-to-one, basically. So to be a copycat, right? And it doesn't matter if it's writing copy or pictures or images or illustrations or stores or web designs. Copying in one-to-one is basically stealing, right? And I just can't do it. I've had the case sometimes that a client comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I want you to rebuild this website exactly one-to-one," and I'm like, I'll use it as a reference, as an inspiration, but I'm not going to build it one-to-one. And so there have been cases in the past where I was able to sway the client and tell them, hey, not only is copying not really cool, but it's not individual to you or your brand or who you are or what you're selling. And this is also, I talk about this in the templates video. I'll see if I can put the link in the description below. Otherwise, check it on my channel somewhere. I talk about it in the context of templates. So, yeah. So stealing. Pablo Picasso said the best artists they steal, right? But he was being cheeky with it, and what he meant is to indeed be uplifted and inspired by good work, by beautiful work, by talented work, and that gives you a boost in terms of motivation and in terms of generating ideas, and you can use it as a reference if you like this, if you like that, if you like this and that. But to copy it one to one is basically a no, and not only can it lead to copyright issues, which happens quite often, actually, but it doesn't feel right, and it's not going to lead to a unique output, which is the ideal case, because you have to think about it. Everybody is unique, and despite the existence of convergence, true, that is a fact, and I'll talk about that in another video as well. You want to be the one that stands out in a good way, right? And the only way you're gonna be able to manage that is not by copying others, it's by innovating upon others, it's by taking things to even further than others, So yeah, that would be number 2. And the big 3, to complete the big 3. So number 3 would be to either deliver unfinished work or under deliver work. Yeah, and that's been a difficult one for me in terms of, how far am I willing to go to accept that, because let me put it another way. It's like, if I promise to work, then I'm gonna deliver it. That has cost me in the past a lot of time and money and patience and nerves, and this is not an easy philosophy to uphold, but I do my best to try that. An example, I had a big project 2 years ago with a couple of colleagues, and everything that could happen happened in this project. So it was the definition of Murphy's Law. We had somebody died, and we had someone turning out to be a scammer. We had like changes in national and European legislation. So everything that could have happened in this project. And throughout the entire project, which took like 6 months longer than it should have taken partially because of unforeseen circumstances, such as the ones I just mentioned, I never stopped standing for, I'm gonna deliver. And I did. I really did deliver in the end, after a lot of sacrifice and sweat and blood. And yeah. But it cost me a lot of money, and I took some reputational damage as well, which is the worst thing. So I'm not sure if that's the right way to go always, because I understand that we are people, right? And sometimes sometimes we have to part ways, because we are people, because we're different people, and because we have different perspectives and different personalities, And that's sometimes the right thing to do, is just to part ways and leave it, That is the path of less evil, basically. But again, I have upheld myself to that ever since I started working, and it's led to a lot of sleepless nights and financial damage, but I have always delivered. And I think that's at least something to be maybe perhaps proud of. I hope. I've always delivered, and I generally over deliver as well, or try to. So I've always delivered, but it's been costly. So, like, I stand for the value behind it, for the rationale behind it, but in practice, can be a bitch. Total bit. So, but yeah, those are like my 3 biggest ethics values for work. I guess part of it naturally also flows into my personality, or it's tied to my personality. And yeah, I hope it makes sense to you the way I described it. And maybe I would be curious to hear what are your ethics, your main codes of ethics, and why is that the case? I would love to hear that in the comments below. And yeah, I appreciate you watching, being here. Once again, like the video, subscribe if you found it of value. I'll see you next time. Cheers.